TelecomTV, where ICT connects.
Hello, you're watching TelecomTV. My name is Martin Warwick and I'm reporting from the SDN and OpenFlow World Congress here in Bad Homburg in Germany, which is a spa town. And I'm talking with Charles Ferland, who is with the SDN Global Sales and Business Development Unit at IBM.
Hello, Martin.
Charles, you're very welcome. Look, your focus is on SDN and NFV are complementary technologies, but separate, but nonetheless complementary. Do you have within IBM a roadmap of where you think SDN is going and where you're taking it or where it's taking you?
I think it's very exciting to see where the possibilities that are opening up with the decoupling of the control plane and the data plane that we're seeing with the SDN, and we're seeing the same concept being replicated in some shape or form through NFV. Now that we're looking at standards to build these building blocks, OpenFlow, for example, Open Daylight as a standardized controller, it opened up the interfaces for the application. And this is really where we want to focus, is what all the application that we have and all the intelligence that we has been developed in the past, how can we make these applications interact and interface with the network infrastructure? And this is extremely powerful because we never had that possibility before. It was a closed networking box with one vendor, and to interact with that box was extremely complicated. Well, now we just open up this black magic box, if you want, and we expose the interface. And if you have a big data application, if you have a security monitoring device software that is looking at logs on your server and is able to spot a credit card transaction, or is able to spot there is a security threat of some sort, well, now it's able to interact in real time with the controller, with the network infrastructure, and the network is now able to take a direct action on the environment. Instead of just looking at syslog or SNMP messages and have an after-the-fact reaction, we can use all the potential and intelligence of the software to interface with the network environment. And I think this is where we're looking at SDN and the roadmap. This is very exciting because what we'll be looking at is not so much a number of ports on the switch, the capacity and the latency and the controller. No, I think that all the discussion will be at what sort of application and intelligence can we utilize to enable the more smarter network environment.
So the IBM emphasis is much more on applications rather than straightforward infrastructure.
Well, we need it, yes, but we do need the infrastructure, and it's important to focus on the application. But IBM obviously has OpenFlow capable switch, so these we're using. We standardize on OpenFlow because we strongly believe that these standard avoids a lot of complication for a customer and bring a lot more benefit for them in not having to buy into a proprietary technology from one vendor or another. An OpenFlow gives us that flexibility. Same thing on the controller. We're using a controller interface based on the Open Daylight components. And again, this is avoid all the many years of Unix version that many of our customers experience. Now we're looking at this from a more open ecosystem environment and say, well, we have an Open Daylight compliant controller, and therefore you can focus on the application, you can focus on the networking components you prefer, and not so much having to say, well, my networking vendor forces me to use these components. So having that open is a side benefit that our customers, and to be honest, all the software developer out there as well, they don't have to compile their application from one controller or another controller or one protocol or another protocol. We, in some way, infuse the ecosystem and encourage the ecosystem to develop the applications they feel is much better for the network of tomorrow.
There's a lot of talk here at the show, there's a lot of talk within the industry in general about network virtualization. Can you tell us what it means, particularly with emphasis on enterprises?
Well, the network virtualization is something that is a natural evolution of all the virtualization effort that has been going on in the server world in the past 10 years. And some of the now that we're looking at an environment where you have virtual machine that can be enabled in a couple of minutes, a couple of seconds, the networks sort of come into the way and block that flexibility and all that agility. So virtualization, for the past 10 years, have been used in the main purpose to consolidate from 10 servers down to one physical server with 10 virtual machines. Well, many of the benefits of virtualization is the flexibility and the agility to move a virtual machine from one location to another without having to be bothered with a networking configuration underneath. And that was not really possible because while the server environment was very flexible, very agile, the networking concept was still very archaic, very old-style type of environment. And, well, this is what network virtualization that IBM introduced in 2009 with something called VM Ready. Now we are in the fourth generation of that sort of evolution with technology like VXLAN, where we are creating virtual network, and we associate it, when a virtual machine is created, we associate it directly to that virtual network, and no matter where that virtual machine is, in a data center or around the world, it keeps the same networking attribute. And that is very important because we now gain the same flexibility and agility that we do on the server platform, and the customers can really harvest all the benefits of the virtualization end-to-end.
Okay, thank you. Now then, where do standards play into this?
That's very important, and the standards are essential to any successful SDN deployment. I think I'll call it a miss if we are achieving an SDN strategy that will only work with certain set of hardware and certain set of controller. I think the SDN foundation is to be open, right? So a group like the ONF, who are publishing the OpenFlow specs, or Open Daylight on the controller side are very important to IBM, and we are active members of these organizations, but more important, we are incorporating these technologies and these protocols into our product development in-house. So this is very important for us.
Now, 12 months ago, almost to the day, the NFV white paper was published from one of these shows, in Germany as well, in Darmstadt in 2012. As far as SDN is concerned, which I know is where your focus is,
yes.
What has happened in the market and in the industry over the past 12 months? How different is it today than it was a year ago?
Very different, a lot more interest. 12 months ago, you would bring the SDN topic and you would get some sort of what are you talking about? Or yeah, we heard about it, but not too sure. Now we're getting customers interested into looking at the possibilities of SDN for their own environment. So we have, over the last 12 months, learned a lot with our customers. Let's be honest, this is a new technology for everybody, but the reason we're engaged with our customers and we have active deployment is we can learn from the feedback from them as well. So we have now successfully deployed some monitoring network. We have built some agile building block, allowing customers to only wire once their server, and we're dynamically reprogramming the flows to use different appliances in the data center. So these were scenarios that 12 months ago we had difficulty imagining, right? And now because of this popularity and we're engaged in many proof of concept, we're learning with our customers and we're fine-tuning the protocol, we're enhancing our product in order to deliver these solutions.
Excellent. Hope to see you here this time next year. In the meantime, Charles Ferland, thank you very much indeed.
It will be my pleasure. Thank you.
TelecomTV, where ICT connects.